Welcome everybody to some SBF basketball. Here we are, middle of week 3, and we've got an exciting game to bring you tonight as we're going to watch the Rocky Mountain Vixens take on the Albuquerque Chupacabras. Hot off some trades, the Chupacabras are looking to get their team going. They're going to lean on newly acquired point guard Cassius Falls to try to spark some offense. The Chupacabras started off as one of the hottest teams in the league, but have slowly kind of fizzled out recently. Alongside me tonight in commentary, I have the one, the only, Ken.
I am glad to be here for some awesome SBF action.
Alright, we're going to start this out with the Vixens have the ball. Conley keeps poking into the lane. Mel McDaniel turns and fades, can't get it to go. Cleveland with the board. Prigioni passes it up to Turner. Whoa. Turner spins and lays it in. Hello, Scott Puggleson, center from Michigan. You are live with us on commentary. Oh. Derek Walker passes it out to Baldwin, who gets it over two guys for the score. Good pass by Baldwin and a better layup by Randy Baldwin. Prigioni now sets up the offense for the Chupacabras. Takes the Vin Woods screen. Wow, what a move around the back. Drops it down low to Vin Woods for the slam. Beautiful move by Francois Prigioni on that play. Baldwin now takes the Walker screen. Prigioni staying right on him. Cleveland on Derek Walker at the top of the key. Conley is an emphatic dunker. There he is, right there. Finishing at the rim is his specialty, and that was beautiful. Prigioni now. Passes it over to Turner. Turner spins, gets wide open, and floats it. Good move by these Albuquerque guards tonight. Prigioni and Turner putting on some highlight plays early. Conley finds Mike Welker open. Welker scores the easy basket. Darnell Turner's going to take it up top. Cleveland hands it right back to him. Turner pops, can't get it, but there's Vin Woods with the board and the easy putback. Both these teams are scoring at will right now. Baldwin passes it down to Mel McDaniel. Mel, mid-range jumper, can't get it. Cassius Falls with the board. That's the pro to having a Cassius Falls. Being so tall, he can get the rebound over almost anybody. And then being a point guard, you can trust him to dribble the ball in the fast break and push tempo. As everybody just kind of lets Carson Conley goes by, and he scores the easy basket. Falls hands it to Cleveland. Cleveland's got it up top. Cleveland's going to drive, and he picks up the foul on Mel McDaniel.
We are live doing commentary for SBF right now.
Alright, I muted the newest acquisition into this commentary group so they can remain into the group without being heard. As you guys can tell, commentary's not going the best this morning, but we're
not the greatest. It looks like we're getting some other channels somehow in our broadcast.
We're picking up additional airwaves.
We're not sure, but we're picking up other commentators.
It's always nice to have Scott Puggleson, center from Michigan, join us, though.
Always a welcome guest.
Not the Ballers GM, he's trash.
Nope.
Try to jump in once in a while.
Turner pops it from 3 and got it. This Darnell Turner could be dangerous. Ever since coming to the Chupacabras, he's looked a lot better than how we knew him with the Tornadoes.
It almost feels like he's been a little less selfish for the Chupacabras as well.
Like Welker shoots it, can't get it. Walker with the board and put back. Scores 13-13 here, middle of the first. Hopefully the technical difficulties are out of the way and we can just focus on some good basketball. Cassius Falls takes the screen from Cleveland and gets the easy layup to go. This is also a new Cassius Falls. Cassius Falls, very selfish when he played for the Polar Bears. The Chupacabras moving him to the shooting guard position has made him a lot more pass first oriented. Here comes Darnell Turner. Gets it down low to Cleveland. What a find.
Great pass.
If you put these 3 Chupacabra guards on paper at the beginning of the season, before we saw them play together, Francois Prigioni, Darnell Turner, and then add in a Cassius Falls, I don't think anybody would have predicted they'd have this good a chemistry this fast.
No.
But we're about to see a lot of shakeups around the league. We're about to find out if these trades were worth it for a lot of different teams. Monday night, July 5th, felt like the SBF trade deadline almost, where multiple teams had massive trades. The very last big trade to be announced was the acquisition of Kadeem Wagner by the Rattlesnakes. What do you think about that move?
Well, during an absolute frenzy of trades, Kadeem Wagner is a very big name to go on the move. Kadeem Wagner, it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in there.
That I agree with. Kadeem Wagner, I think, could fit the Rattlesnake scheme well. He doesn't force the ball into his hands often. He doesn't require a lot of touches. He doesn't take a lot of bad shots. He plays good defense. So I don't think the Rattlesnakes really needed to add another scoring option. I think they're happy with Travis and Russ, which is why I think Kadeem might be worth it for them.
And I believe the Polar Bears also managed to get Oliver Barber in return for him as well, right?
Yeah.
Oliver Barber, as far as I know, is just a shooter.
Yep. Oliver Barber adds some good shooting to the bench of the Polar Bears.
Possibly a really good trade for both teams.
Polar Bears, well trading away a lot of their key assets, they kept themselves in a spot where they can still compete this season by adding Dylan Webb to point guard and also adding Oliver Barber, the small forward.
Yeah, with those acquisitions, it's definitely downgrade, but they're still competitive with draft assets.
As you see, Derek Walker has Francois Prigioni down low, and Prigioni picks it. Hunter Cooley now pushing the tempo. Cooley drops it down low to Cleveland. Cleveland going up against Jerry Little. Big time mismatch there as Cleveland gets the easy deuce. Braxton Gaffney has been an absolute spark plug for the Vixens. Already made 1 3 tonight. Let's see if he can add to it here. He's doing work against Francois. Backs up. Open mid-range. Can't get it to fall. Darnell Turner driving. Lays it in. Can't get it. Walker with the board. Walker passes it up to Carson Conley. Go forward to Gaffney. Open three. Got it.
Ooh.
Gaffney has been a steal in the draft so far. Everybody passed on him, and he has absolutely been electric for these Vixens. Darnell Turner's going to hold now for the last shot of the quarter. Prigioni three, can't get it, rims out. There you have it. At the end of one, we have a tied ball game, 21 points apiece. Real good back and forth basketball so far here tonight. Both teams trying to take that next step. Vixens want to go from good to great, and Chupacabras want to go from struggling to consistent. You're going to see Sean Foster, the power forward, bringing it up for the Chupacabras here. Interesting when you still have Prigioni and Turner in the game. There's Turner with an open three. Got it! Darnell Turner.
Just did a little quick research, and definitely Gaffney was a steal, being taken in the 7th round.
Braxton Gaffney is passed on by a lot of teams.
Multiple times.
Prigioni hits it over to Turner. Turner's going to drive, puts it up and over Conley for the easy layup. Now, if Francois Prigioni can actually guard Braxton Gaffney here, the Chupacabras could start to run away with it a little bit. Hit it down low. Derek Walker. Walker gets Cleveland flying with a pump fake and gets the easy layup to go.
Sold out on that one.
Talking about trades, July 5th. Your Talons made a big trade that day as well. Do you want to spend a moment to talk about what you think Shane Kerrigan will bring to this team?
Of course. Shane Kerrigan has always been known as one of, if not the best role players in the SBF. There have been players who have tried to feature him as their main scorer or the main centerpiece around their teams, and it hasn't worked out before. What my plan is to do is to add him to a team that is absolutely filled with people who just want to shoot the ball. Now, he can shoot the ball, that's just not his go-to. He can do pretty much everything. And my hope is that surrounding him with shooters on offense and perimeter defenders, playing him at the power forward, it'll open up his bag of tricks for offense, and he can be the 1B to Jerry Johnson, because the offense is so designed to give him space to work down low. That is the idea, is to open up his potential.
Cassius Falls with a beautiful pass. Yeah, I am eager to see what a Shane Kerrigan can do for the Talons, because, as you say, yes, having 4 people on the floor with Shane who all want to shoot should create space on the floor for him. But Shane has proven time and time again that he is just not a great scorer if it's not. When it comes to the fast break, there's nobody better in the league at scoring than Shane Kerrigan. So I do think that speed will help your team improve quite a bit. Right now, one of the struggles for the Talons is fast break, allowing the fast break scores, and then also not scoring on the fast break very often, and I think Shane will help with that.
Yeah, I definitely think you're right there. And and we did our due diligence on Shane Kerrigan. We've seen what he's done in the past, so we are betting on ourselves here to put him in the best spot possible at the cost of 2 first-round picks, but we're betting on ourselves.
Another big trade. I don't know if you want to look into who it is for me real quick, because I'm blanking on the name. But the Stingrays made a move for a shooting guard. Do you remember which shooting guard it was? Was it Nichols? Was it Blake? I think it was Nichols.
It was Stingrays receive Joe Nichols, and the Polar Bears get the first round pick.
Yes, Joe Nichols. So, I have a little bit of inside information on the Stingrays GM and what went into that trade. So, a lot of people might think Nichols is not worth a first, and I agree with that. But the Stingrays GM, they did their research, and they saw how well Nichols was performing this year for the Polar Bears. And the Stingrays want to win now. That's what they told me when I questioned them as to why they made this trade. They want to win now, and they are lacking at guard depth, and Nichols was one of the best options out there. So they were willing to pay the first because in their mind, this pushes them to a potential championship team this season. I do think Nichols, looking at his numbers, I do think this is going to be a good ad for the Stingrays. Don't know if it was worth a first, but only time will tell. The last time the Stingrays made a big move, it was for Jatavius Cleveland, and that worked out really well. So I am going to be interested to see how well this one works out for them.
That was an absolute earth shaker when it happened.
Yeah. Everybody thought they paid way too much, but the one thing the Stingrays GM is known for is finding their guys, targeting them, and paying whatever it takes to get them.
Very admirable strategy. Then we also had Yuri Kasparov going to the Bobcats.
That was an absolute earth shaker one as well. I mean, here you are, the Bobcats are 12-0. They just beat the Assassins, the second best team in the league. They beat the Tornadoes, who have been surging and look really good. And then they go ahead and they trade for, I'm not going to call him a no-namer, but he's not a household name. Nobody loves the Yuri Kasparov. So they went out there and they paid a first-round pick for him. So I'm going to be extremely interested to see his fit, because it needs to fit well, and it needs to fit well now.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see where that sets the trade market at, because we saw some other minor trades, like the Ballers giving up their first-round pick for a second and James Harrison. Like, we're seeing first-round picks on the move, but that one was definitely, I would say, the most puzzling trade of the night, just because of Yuri Kasparov's lack of value being perceived versus how much the Bobcats wanted him.
It's also interesting to see all these first rounders get moved in a year where we have a bunch of user players being brought into the SBF draft class.
You have to wonder if that changes the value to some of these GMs too. With this year's first rounder, not necessarily just because it's a first rounder, but because they have the opportunity to draft their own players that they designed themselves. So when you see this year's first move for a player, you got to think, wow, that's got to be a very important player to them, because they may have just passed up on a chance to get their guy.
Another thing the SBF struggles with is high overall players, and that is slowly going to transition as regression has been turned on. So at the end of the season, you're going to see some of these 99s slowly regress, and then players coming up are going to be mid to high 80s rather than 90s. So that's also a difference, is they're sending these first round picks around in hopes to get some of these 90s rather than drafting these mid to high 80s. One thing I think people are going to slowly start to realize is something that we realized very quickly, is the overall doesn't really matter. It's the player tendencies and the scheme fit that matters. So I think that's something we're going to see here shortly. GMs are going to slowly start to pick up on it.
Yeah, as the Talons GM, I've definitely bought into that philosophy, with overall being very irrelevant to how I built this team, having only one player above 90 before the Shane Kerrigan trade. And you would think, compared to a lot of these other teams, that I would be awful. And while I'm not competing for championships at the moment with our current roster, before this trade, we're also not terrible, like you would expect. You don't need 99s all over your team to be competitive. You just need to have a strategy, and you need to have people who fit it.
Cleveland has been cleaning up the offensive glass tonight. Another offensive board and putback there. Let's talk about these two teams now for a minute. The Vixens are in the top 5 of the league, whereas the Chupacabras are floating around the middle of the pack. They're slowly getting a little bit better, but this Cassius Falls trade so far looks really good. Cassius Falls has looked really good tonight, but they're hoping that this will push them into competing this season. Another thing you got to remember about these Chupacabras, last year they traded away the number 3 overall pick in the draft for future firsts from the Assassins. So if the Chupacabras do well this year, they're going to have 2 first-round picks to build this team off of going forward. So these Chupacabras could potentially be extremely dangerous in the future.
Yeah, these Chupacabras getting Cassius Falls was mind-blowing when I first saw it.
I believe the exact trade was Cassius in a second for Dylan Webb in a first, if I'm remembering that right. So they gained a second round.
It may have been a swap best first, but it was definitely Dylan Webb.
Yes, yep, you're right. I do remember a swap best, so they didn't lose a first round pick. They upgraded the point guard position, in their opinion. And Dylan Webb's a good point guard, just at different things. But they upgraded the point guard position, and all they get out of it is the worst of the 2 first round picks.
Yeah, zero disrespect to Dylan Webb, but it's hard not to fall in love with Cassius Falls' game.
As you see, it's very clear as to why the Chupacabras are leading this one, beating them in the board battle, neck and neck when it comes to assists. The Vixens are not stealing the ball or blocking any shots, and that's huge. 7-1 when it comes to the turnover, the steals and blocks department. That's huge. A lot of times, the team that forces the most turnovers is the teams that take the W.
Yeah, winning in the rebound category and looking like you're winning in the defense category is going to be very hard to try to make a comeback on. If you're the Vixens, you got to set the tone early. The Vixens, a team that prior to the draft, people were very high on, especially with the acquisition of Walker.
You mean after the draft?
Yes, after the draft,
Okay.
if I didn't say after.
Yeah.
After the draft,
really
our
caught off guard.
yeah, after this draft, we had our reporters give us some power rankings and some opinions from other GMs around the league. Was the Vixens had a very good draft.
Most people were putting the Vixens in top 3, if not number 1, with how this team looked on paper, and I agreed. I thought the Vixens had one of the best rosters on paper. So far, it has transitioned well, but not as well as we thought, and I think part of that is just chemistry struggles. Conley, for one, even though he's a real good player, he has his own issues he's got to work out. Like, he's got to be able to make that open 3 that you just saw him pass up with that last possession. Mike Welker hasn't necessarily been an elite scorer for the Vixens, which they need.
We have not seen superstar Mike Welker.
All these players for the Vixens are good scorers, good defenders, but they don't have that one great scorer. Off the bench, I think Braxton Gaffney has been what really saves this team, because they really struggle. Then Gaffney comes in, puts the team on his back, and scores like 12 points straight.
Yeah, having that spark plug coming off the bench is very rare in this league right now, because most teams only have 8 players right now after the expansion draft. and having good depth has been hard to come by. So having that guy that can come off the bench and spark you points is extremely valuable, and it seems to be a big part of their success, like you said.
It'll be interesting to see if Braxton Gaffney.
Braxton.
Sneezed. Sorry. It'll be interesting if Braxton Gaffney keeps playing this well, if he's going to sneak himself into the starting lineup eventually.
That's going to be interesting to see how that develops. And seeing Mike Welker for the Vixens, I don't know if I'm just seeing something different, but it seems like that superstar mentality that he had back when he played for the Assassins isn't quite as prevalent as he's played on the Vixens.
That I agree with. I feel like he went back to his roots of really good role player. I still get that leader vibe from him, but leadership in a different role.
I can definitely agree with that.
So far, I can say I've been absolutely loving this Cassius Falls fit. He's been only positive for the Chupacabras so far tonight. He missed that last layup, but more times than not, that layup's going to go. It was still a good move to get to the rim. As you see, Cleveland just kind of chucks it at Derek Walker. Here comes Conley in transition. Conley drives, and that's what Conley does. He's such a good inside scorer, but I almost think that that's working against the Vixens a little, because they have Baldwin, inside scorer, Derek Walker, inside scorer. They have Mel McDaniel, inside scorer, Conley, inside scorer. They have Mike Welker, who can shoot from the outside, but he loves those mid-range pops. So the Vixens play so hard on the inside, they really need somebody that can stretch the floor for them. So McDaniel's going to go to work on Prigioni here. That's easy. McDaniel's one of the best inside scoring power forwards in the league. You cannot give him that mismatch.
No, you can't. And we're only a couple minutes out of the first half, where we saw a 10-point lead almost, and we're already seeing lead changes. So nobody getting counted out of this game.
This is kind of what happened with the Chupacabras throughout the season so far. They start out hot, they take early leads, and then they slowly fall apart. And we're seeing it here ever since halftime. The Chupacabras just have not been able to find take the lid off the basket.
Yeah, we've seen some scoring droughts from both teams so far this game. A few minutes apiece. But nobody really able to get enough momentum to take control of this game. Reaching by Baldwin.
That was a good pass there by Cassius, but being 6'9", I would almost want to see him go up strong with it there. He needs to start making those. I love that he's a pass-first mentality guy, and that's why I like Cassius Falls a lot. But when you don't have a lot of other strong scoring options, I think you've got to start trying to take that step up. And if you're the Chupacabras, you have to be worried seeing that ice symbol below Turner right now. You've got to get him going.
I think, oh wow,
Beautiful
there's
pass.
superstar Mike Welker.
That was a great pass by Baldwin.
And I think everybody's been impressed so far with the passing ability that Cassius Falls has shown since his rookie showcase, where we saw him absolutely hog the ball to try to show off his scoring, hurting his draft stock almost.
Braxton with another 3. That man's back. That's one thing that the SBF has shown. The SBF has shown that it is very inconsistent when it comes to transitioning from college to pros. The showcase game has almost always exclusively been wrong.
Yeah, we've seen people dominate the showcase games and then absolutely stink it up as soon as they get to the big leagues. And then we've seen people who have just gone like 4 for 17 or just had a really bad showing just come in and immediately dominate off of a bench roll because that's what people assumed they were going to be and then become starters.
I mean, Braxton Gaffney didn't have a strong showcase game, and here he is playing really well. Joshua Waters never had a strong showcase game, and he came into the league red hot. Cassius Falls looked terrible in his showcase game. Here he is looking good.
Probably one of the biggest recent examples is Jawan Quinn absolutely destroying the showcase game and then getting all this draft hype only to get moved around multiple times immediately after being drafted because of his disappointment entering the SBF.
Yep. Absolute disappointment as he enters the league. If you look at it, most of the assassin draft picks, Derek Simon was another one who didn't ball out during the showcase game, but when getting into the league, he's looked great for both teams he's played for. Josh Waters did not ball out during the showcase game, but he looked great.
Yeah, Josh Waters during that showcase game performed so poorly. He shot the ball so often, kept getting blocked, or just couldn't take the lid off the basket. Big shot there by Mike.
The Chupacabras just absolutely cannot get any kind of offense going as they're starting to let this game get out of hand here.
Not at all. But Waters killed his draft stock so badly that he became the last pick of that draft because nobody wanted him. Everybody thought, well, this guy's a point guard who's making bad decisions and can't score the ball. Why would we want him? But when in reality, he was just having a really bad game, and he was showing his mentality of, I understand I'm not playing well, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop trying. And that mentality's worked really well for him since he was drafted.
As you see, Turner misses the shot for the Chupacabras, and on the other end, the Vixens capitalize immediately. These Chupacabras have no time left. You need to score. And there's another miss. This is what happens if you let your superstar get cold. You've got to get Darnell Turner scoring the ball. Get him an easy bucket. You've got to get that cold symbol out from under him.
Cold symbols all around for the Chupacabras.
This is where the coach should be doing some quick subs to get some new faces in there. As Mike Welker nails another one.
Killer 3 off the transition.
Man, I didn't think this game would be going like this. I thought if Cassius Falls had a good debut, Chupacabras would win easy. If Cassius Falls struggled, I thought they'd lose.
Fantastic pass out there.
Here they are. Cassius Falls is playing well, and they're struggling, so I didn't see this coming. As Cleveland picks up his third.
We've seen leads evaporate in this game, so it's hard to count anybody out, but it is hard to see the Vixens slowing down here unless the Chupacabras do something major here going into the fourth quarter.
The Vixens, I mean, really they haven't even changed their game approach. They've stayed consistent throughout, whereas the Chupacabras right now are cold. As there they go, they get one to fall. Ben Woods, a very good shooter at that power forward position. I definitely would trust him to keep shooting until his cold streak's over.
Ben Woods was a very high priority target for the Talons during the draft, and That is very high praise for someone's shooting ability.
As Turner misses another one. That's what Turner was known for in Smashville. That's why the Tornadoes traded him. Turner misses a lot of mid-range shots. We haven't seen him perform that badly here in Albuquerque yet, but 17-point lead going into the fourth quarter as the Vixens are in cruise control right now. They have their eyes set on another win to push them up in the power rankings even further. Chupacabras have a lot of good things to go off of with this game, but they definitely need to talk about their approach coming out of halftime because this game has completely shifted. Baldwin now is going to start with the ball. Gets it over to Conley. Back to Eddie Lyons, open three, got it.
There's the 20-point lead.
Leave it to Eddie Lyons. He's competing right now for 6th man of the year. Eddie Lyons, a hyper scorer off the bench. I'm surprised Gaffney's not in that 6th man race.
Maybe more people will start to be on notice as the league year goes on.
There you see Darnell Turner shooting 37% tonight. He didn't start out that bad. It's just happened after half. This is what I love about these Vixens is I love their rotation. Here you have a team that's all about inside basketball, inside scoring everywhere. And then you add an Eddie Lyons and a Braxton Gaffney who can just shoot from anywhere on the floor. Those two coming in off the bench really balances this team. As Vin Woods nails another. Derek Walker gets it up and over Darnell Turner. As you see the scoring difference there between the two centers. Walker's not much of a scoring center though, I will say that. He's all about the rebounds, he's all about the blocked shots. Derek Walker picks up a foul on that blocked attempt. Gaffney forces that one up. No chill for Braxton.
None.
Prigioni open three, can't get it. Prigioni really needs to take that next step to become more of a reliable shooter. He's a good shooter, but he is not reliable.
Yeah, you need to hit those open shots, especially in a situation like this where your team's trying to claw back from a big deficit.
Yep, that three would have cut it to a 14-point game, and now they have the ball back, so they could have it almost. Oh, Vin Woods should have taken that one. Passes it out instead. Darnell Turner trying to put on some moves. Can't quite get open, though. He's going to have to force it up.
And allowing the quick bucket on the other end.
As the lead continues to grow for the Rocky Mountain Vixens. 19-point game, middle of the fourth quarter. Good pass down low, Jatavius Cleveland. It's interesting to see them using Cleveland in a scoring role because you never saw this with Magic City or River City. Both those teams did not use Cleveland in a scoring role.
No, and we've seen Jatavius Cleveland in this league for a long time. It's almost kind of shocking seeing him work on pick and rolls. And making his cuts to the rim.
Derek Walker with a clean block on Cleveland that time. Eddie Lyons, open three, got it.
Wow.
20-point lead now for the Vixens. Like I said, the Vixens just seem like they put it into cruise control. They play the same style of basketball all the way throughout. If you start to struggle, they're not going to let off the gas. They're just going to continue to cruise, and the lead's going to grow while you're struggling. Now that the Chupacabras aren't struggling as hard, the lead has stopped growing, and they've just been around 18 to 22 points for the last few minutes.
The Vixens are doing this with their bench on the floor, too.
Yeah, their bench, though, offers really good rotation. And I really like the bench when they come in for the Vixens.
Oh, I do, too.
They transition from an inside scoring team to a three-point shooting team when Braxton or Eddie Lyons come into the game. As Braxton holds the ball strong so nobody can strip it from him, gets to the rim and lays it in. As you see, 66% for the Vixens tonight. That's been about where they've been at all night long. Cassius going to drive. Cassius with a good move to get to the basket but can't finish. That's what he's got to work on. Cassius is a real good passer, really good post moves, but he's just got to get that touch around the rim. Good tip out by Derek Walker, which allows Mike Welker to pull down the board. Gaffney gets by some guys. Cassius falls with the block. Another rebound, though, for the Vixens. Conley's going to pull and a block. Cassius falls, picks it up in transition. But the speed of Conley allows him to catch up.
What a recovery.
That's just a massive speed difference between Falls and Conley on that play. Moving screen there by Derek Walker. As you saw it looked like Derek put himself into bad position and tried to compensate by reaching out with the leg. That was a good foul call.
Yeah, the ref's not having that, even if it is this late in the game.
Cassius Falls wanted the alley, but Jatavius Cleveland didn't see it coming. That was a really good pass. Low awareness by Jatavius Cleveland on that play. I don't think Cleveland is a lob specialist, though.
Vixens had their struggles in the second quarter, but have been scoring at will every other part of the game.
Chupacabra is wasting everyone's time with this timeout. I don't know what you think you're going to gain from this. You're down by 21.
I feel like one of our sponsors has told them to call a timeout.
Balls back out to James Harden. Everybody ignore that.
Everyone ignored James Harden hucking threes.
The reserves are coming in now, as you guys can see. For the Chupacabras, they called that timeout.
So that was the game plan for the timeout. So, all right, time to unleash the big guns.
Whereas you see the Vixens still have their entire starting lineup out there. That's interesting.
I suppose a lot of them are rested.
As you see Nene on the floor, James Harden on the floor. Very interesting lineup by these Chupacabras right now.
A real throwback lineup, really.
There's Servetus for the Vixens. Walker gets another board. Time is winding down in this one. Excellent game by both teams. Not so much one of the teams, but
unnecessary quick bucket there.
let's see if Cassius falls and James Harden dribble out the clock here.
Well, I thought they were going to call off the Dogs, but it looks like they're trying to find their shot.
And another
Interesting.
There
James
you
Harden
have
calling for that one.
there you have it, folks. Rocky Mountain wins by a score of 90-65. Chupacabras struggles continue. Let's see if the GM can make any kind of moves to fix this thing before it sinks. Thanks for catching the game, guys, and we will see you around the league.
Later.
Shut up.
Rude.